Would you sacrifice your freedom? What would lead you to surrender your right to life? Throughout history, humans have made this choice. Today, in our country and all around the world, thousands of people are executed. In the United States, 27 out of the 50 states have capital punishment. The first problem with capital punishment is that it's immoral and unconstitutional. Conditional human rights, including an individual's right to life, should be protected. It's inhumane to execute criminals that have committed major crimes because universal human rights principle applies to all citizens of the world. An individual's right to life is robbed by public power when public policy justifies the maintenance of capital punishment. Capital punishment is cruel and outdated. The lethal injection process involves injecting poison into a criminal's bloodstream, which enters their heart and causes them a painful death. Other methods of capital punishment, including beheading and throwing from a cliff, date back thousands of years. In addition to human rights, capital punishment is responsible for wrongful convictions. The second problem with capital punishment is just that innocent people are wrongfully convicted. Although decreasing, the number of people wrongfully convicted of capital punishment is prevalent. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, there have been over 190 exonerations since 1973. This number accounts for 4% of death inmates in our country. Innocent people spend an average of 16 years in prison prior to being exonerated. Discrimination and a lack of defense resources is responsible for wrongful convictions. Research done by Kennedy and Mandry in the Journal of Crime, Law, and Society, published in 2010, also known as the Marshall Hypothesis article, shows that poor and underprivileged minorities are most vulnerable to wrongful convictions of capital punishment. In addition to wrongful convictions, capital punishment has a disproportionate impact. The third problem with capital punishment is that it has a disproportionate impact to minorities. According to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, minorities have harsher sentences due to racial disparities. Over 50% of death inmates are Black or Latino, although this minority represents only 31% of the population in the United States. Cases with non-white victims are less likely to get the death penalty than cases with white victims. According to the United Nations Human Rights Office of High Commission, socioeconomic status affects a criminal's right to be legally represented in a capital trial. People with low socioeconomic status are more likely to get the death penalty than wealthy individuals. In addition to disproportionate impact, capital punishment lacks a deterrent effect. The fourth problem with the capital punishment is that it lacks a deterrent effect. It's not a deterrent to serious crimes. Research done by Hasu and Lee in the International Human Rights Journal, published in 2025, showed that deterrence is the leading, most robust contributing factor to pro-death penalty attitudes. In addition to deterrence, capital punishment is not cost-effective. The fifth problem with capital punishment is that it's not cost-effective compared to life imprisonment. Primary concern for capital punishment are the legal costs that are associated with it. Capital trials are longer in duration and have higher defense costs due to the requirement of specialized representation in capital trials. Incarceration costs for death row inmates are higher than those for life imprisonment, including housing, food, and healthcare due to cumulative costs of capital trials and appeals. Abolishing the death penalty requires the participation of everyone, from political and criminal justice system leaders to everyday voters. It's natural to have that innate feeling of wanting to do what is right. By abolishing the death penalty, we would be protecting human rights. Alternatives to the death penalty include increasing the required amount of human rights education for students entering the political and criminal justice systems. Another alternative is life imprisonment without parole, which a majority of voters in a 2019 public opinion poll favored over the death penalty. Countries with the death penalty are obligated to the violation of human rights. Imagine a world where your right to life is protected from public opinion. In the United States, we would be a part of an international peace treaty that protects universal human rights. We would join our neighboring countries, Mexico and Canada, which abolished their death penalty in 1976. We everyday Americans would sleep better knowing that we aren't supporting the degrading practice of the torturing of another human being by means of capital punishment. Trial lawyers and juries would have more time to spend with their families rather than at lengthy capital trials and appeals. The criminal justice system won't be at risk of executing innocent people, and we as a nation would know that we are promoting life instead of death. There are steps that you can take today to support the abolishment of capital punishment. First, use your right to vote and vote against public policy that justifies capital punishment. Pay attention to the rules of capital punishment in your state and county, and learn how you can use your right to vote to protect human rights. Pay attention to who you're voting for and their stance on capital punishment. Second, learn about human rights, even if you are not a student entering the political and criminal justice systems. Research done in the Oxford Journal of Sociology and Religion by Anderson and Schwadl, published in 2024, showed that white and non-white Americans with a bachelor's degree are less likely to support the death penalty than those without a bachelor's degree. By taking these actions, you're more likely to understand capital punishment's effect on society, thus making you more prone to protect human rights and reverse the trend of wrongful convictions and punishment in our country and all around the world.